Hello and welcome back once again to our YouTube channel Oracle DB Online Training. In this tutorial, we are going to start with Introduction to Oracle Database Multitenant Architecture. This is an exclusive video from learning point of view for Oracle Multitenant Database. So far, whatever the contents we have covered in my previous tutorials, that is associated with either for single instance database or it is for rack database. Now I have started with a new tutorial on multi-tenant architecture. The reason for starting this tutorial is that going forward from 19C onwards, so after the 19C onwards, we have to start using the multi-tenant architecture. Though this feature has been introduced in the Oracle version 12C, but now still from 21C onwards, whatever the database you will be using, you have to use the container-based database architecture. Before proceeding further, I'll request every users to please do subscribe if you have already not subscribed to our YouTube channel. We're already having 13,000 plus subscribers. I will thanks to all the existing subscribers, and you can take the benefit of our courses by by joining our YouTube channel membership program. There you can have exclusive content such as previous recorded sessions for previous existing batches. And also I have recently announced that I'll be starting a new batch starting from 11th of May. You can take the benefit of this course. You will be learning end-to-end Oracle database starting from basics to the advanced topics such as Golden Gate, Rack, Data Guard, patching, everything will be included. Without wasting much of the time, I'll request, if you are looking for a training, live training, you can always reach out to me on this contact number. This is our email address. If you are looking for recorded courses, you can always visit our website. There you will get the benefit of the existing courses. You can always contact us and you can also look for the recent blogs on our website. So let's focus on today's agenda, that is the introduction to the Oracle multi-tenant architecture. So what are the topics that we'll be covering in today's session is we can look at the presentation here. So after completion of this tutorial, you should be able to understand what is a container-based database, what are the important components of the container database, what are the main benefit of using the multi-tenant architecture, what are the options and tools available with respect to CDB PDBs. Again, PDB stands for Pluggable Database. We are going to talk more on this. CDB and PDB database security options, and finally we'll do the summary of this entire tutorial. So let's go ahead with this tutorial. So first of all, I'll give the presentation on the traditional database architecture. So if you look at this diagram, this is a very old traditional Oracle database architecture where we have various components. So this database contains SGA, PGA, we have a background process, we have a data files, we have a mandatory background process, some of the SGA components such as shared pool, database forecast, Java pool, large pool, and so on. So this is like an old traditional architecture of the database that we have. And so up to this database, I mean, if you compare like pre-12C Oracle database architecture, so we have to follow this kind of architecture. So we don't in previous version like 11G, 10G, and previous version of the databases, we don't have the feature for Oracle multi-tenant architecture. So this diagram is just to give the brush up about how the previous version of Oracle database was looking like. Even though still this architecture is still valid for 12C, 19C databases, but since we are looking from the container database point of view, so this is like a old traditional database architecture that we have. Now let's look at the challenges that non-container database architecture having. So when I say non-container database architecture means the database which was previously used in the 11G version or 10G version and some previous old versions. So non-container database means you have a dedicated memory area for a database, a dedicated servers given for a database. So a non-container database has a lot of challenges when we have to manage. Let's say there is an organization which has 20 plus databases to manage. For managing each of the database, definitely you will require a separate servers, and each database will be associated with some application. Again, in order to handle this, you'll require multiple man forces, multiple database administrators. So overall, in order to manage non-container based databases, basically you require multiple efforts, multiple resources, multiple servers, multiple hardwares, and so on. So this is the case of a non-container database architecture. So if we put everything at one place, that becomes a container database. That means you have one centralized database server. In that container database server, you can have multiple sub database. Now we'll be talking about each of these components. What is a pluggable database? What is the application root or application pluggable databases? So everything, basically this is part of one single container. And if you have to understand what is a container database, it's just a logical collection of data or the metadata within the multi-tenant architecture. So when I say multi-tenant architecture, means it enables Oracle database instances to function as a multi-tenant container database. Means on a single server, you can have multiple sub databases. So when you are talking about container databases, there are two important terminologies that comes into the picture. One is called CDB, other is called PDB. So here CDB stand for container database, PDB stand for pluggable database. So within one single container database, you can have multiple pluggable data. So if you look at this diagram here, we have a central container database. Within that, we have multiple pluggable database. So consider one example where an organization is having multiple application and they want to divide the workload into different pluggable databases. So they can put the set of data into the particular pluggable database by creating the pluggable database. Again, these pluggable database will be part of single container database. So one CDB can have multiple PDBs and one PDB belong to a single container database. Now the next one is Oracle Database Architecture for multi-tenant. Again, this is having a slight variation from the previous diagram. So if you're talking about multi-tenant architecture, you have to also talk about root container. So root container is like the main container that get created as a part of container database creation. So while you will be creating a database using the DBC or the silent method, so during that time you need to decide what will be the root container, what will be the pluggable database names. So here by default, when you create any multi-tenant database architecture, you have a root container that is called as a CDB $root. Then we have seed PDB, that is PDB $seed. So in the PDB $seed, we have one seed. So by default, every container database will have only one seed PDB. So seed means it will be like the main base point from which we will be creating other pluggable databases. So this is like a reference database that will be present for creation of the new pluggable databases. After this, the application root. So application root is another functionality that is possible when you are talking about container database. So optionally, you can also create application-based root container, and within that application root, you can have a application seed, for example, this one, and application PDBs like this one. We can have multiple pluggable databases. And apart from this, individually, you can also create pluggable database. So going for in coming slides, we are going to look like how you can create pluggable database and all. So in this particular tutorial, we are not doing a practical session. Mostly we are focusing on the theoretical understanding of container based database. Later in coming days, you will be also finding a lot of sessions coming on these topics, like how to create the pluggable database, how to manage the pluggable database, and so on. So let's move to the next one. So in the container database with no application container will look like this. So this diagram represents one of the container database which has a seed PDB, because seed PDB will be always there whenever you are creating a container database. This seed PDB will be a part of root container. So when I'm talking about a container database here, so whenever I will be creating a container database, it will have the root CDB. So within this root CDB, we have a CDB a pluggable seed, or you will say the seed PDB. And then along with this, you can have a pluggable database. Suppose an organization is having two different applications, like one is HR, other is a sales. So for each of the application, we can create a pluggable database. So this is an example with no application container. So here we are not creating a dedicated, dedicated application container. So everything we are putting as a single pluggable database. That means our data related to the sales application will go into the sales pluggable database. HR application, it will go into the. So here the word pluggable is very significant. That means you can always keep your database available in this container database, and whenever it is required, you can move the data from one to another container. So plug unplug is one of the best features that you can have in the container database. A different PDB administrator manages each of the PDB. So when you are going to create a pluggable database, during that time you have to have a pluggable database administrator. So if you are creating multiple pluggable database, you can also assign the multiple pluggable database administrator who will be managing each of the PDBs. At the physical level, this CDB has a database instance, a database files, just as a non-container database. So at storage level, you will be finding that each of the pluggable database will have its own data files, and that will be also looking something similar to the non-container database. Means the CDB also will have its own data file. That is exactly what we have in the non-container database. So the storage level will be also the same, except for the pluggable database, where you will be finding some additional data files that we will be going to see in coming slides. Now the next example is CDB with application. Suppose I am going ahead with creation of application-based pluggable databases or container database. So in this example, we have application container 1, application container 2, and within this application container, again, we can have a seed PDBs. And then we have the pluggable database. So this is an optional feature. While you will be creating a pluggable database, you can also create application-based container options. Now the next point is container database. So in the root container is also known as a CDB root, CDB $root, and this is a main container that we have. So along with this, you will find out for every root container, we have control file, data file, temporary table space, redo log files. Okay. And if I talk about the pluggable database, so it will have a data file, temp file, and plus you can also from 12.2 onwards, you can have a dedicated undo table space as well. But in 12.1 version, we don't have this feature. But from 12.2 onwards, we can also have a dedicated undo tables for table space for each of the pluggable databases. And while you are configuring the container-based database, you will be having a seed PDB. As we can see in the diagram here, we have the seed PDB as well here. Along with this, for overall database, you have the archive log and flashback log. So that will be also a part of this. So whenever Oracle recommends that you have to use the character set AL32UTF-8, this is for the root container set. And the best part about pluggable database is that you can have a different character set for each of the pluggable database. So next one is a seed PDB. So in the seed PDB is like a reference tables, I will say a reference database that will be used whenever you are going to create a new pluggable database. So it is also known as a template for creation of the pluggable database. And it is created as a part of container database creation. So while you will be creating a container-based database, you will find out there is a seed PDB will be always there. Whether you create pluggable database or no, seed PDB will be always there. And what it contains, it automatically created system, sysOx, temp, and undo table spaces. So PDB with a different character set can resides within the CDB. So as I mentioned, you can have multiple PDBs with different character sets without requiring to do the character set conversion. Next one is a container database with an application. So we can, we have already seen this diagram, like we can have multiple pluggable, application-based container databases. And within that, those application container database, we can have a multiple pluggable data. This is just a repetition of what we have discussed so far. The only thing you have to remember while creating the pluggable database, you have to use this clause called application container clause that you have to utilize while creating the new pluggable database based on application container. This is an optional feature that you can utilize. Now coming to the next one, standard PDB. So standard PDB is like the pluggable database that will look like this. So a PDB is user created. So these PDBs will be basically containing the same set of schema objects, related structure that appear logically to the client. For example, I previously talked about HR schema or cell schema. So let's say I want to always put sales related data to the PDB1. So I can utilize this PDB for sales operation. For HR operation, I can utilize the second PDB. Suppose there is another application comes, that can be also put it in the third pluggable database. So there is a logically related data basically residing into the each of the pluggable database. That is the standard pluggable database creation. And who owns the pluggable database? Basically, the sys user is the main user that owns the data within the pluggable database. So sys can also manage the root container as well as a pluggable database. Now, what are the benefit of using multi-tenant architecture? So basically, if you have seen like the challenges associated with a non-container database means a pre 12c version, that means in 11g and 10g. In fact, non-container database has a lot of challenges in terms of resource management. Let's say we have multiple databases to manage. So if you have limited database administrator, so there is a lot of dependency, a lot of hard work they have to perform in order to manage the databases. That can be overcome with the help of multi-tenant architecture. And apart from this, database consolidation benefit. So if you are using multi-tenant architecture, definitely you can consolidate related data to a single database server with the help of multi-tenant architecture. Apart from this, you can also perform the enhanced manageability. So we can, multiple multi-tenant architecture stores the data and metadata specific for each pluggable database within the PDB itself. That means when you will be creating a pluggable database, the metadata associated with the PDBs can be put within the same PDB. I mean, by default, it goes into the same PDB only. The benefit of using this kind of architecture is that you can unplug the database as per your requirements. Suppose today I realize that I don't want to keep the pluggable database in the container database 1. So I can very easily move that pluggable database from database 1 to database 2. So this flexibility comes with a metadata feature that is available within the PDB itself. So this is again the feature of benefit of multi-tenant architecture. Next one is a component of container database. So components of container database, again, this is going to be a revision whatever we have discussed so far. So we have exactly one root that is called as a container root. Then we have seed PDB. Then we can have 0 or more pluggable databases that we can create. There are certain numbers that we will be discussing here. So if you're talking about 12.1 version, we can have 252 pluggable database we can create within a single container database. But in 12.2, we can have almost 4096 pluggable database we can create. So each of the pluggable database will be associated with a unique container ID that will that you can verify with the help of $V database view. Next one is the table space. So some of the characteristics associated with the container database is following. So each pluggable database have following table spaces like system sysauc temp. Again, the temp can be optionally created under the PDBs. In fact, if you have not created a temp table space in PDB, that means it is going to utilize temp table space as root container. And also the undo table space in the previous version means in 12.1 version, undo table space was shared from the root container. Again, but for 12.2 onwards, we can utilize each of the PDB can have its own undo table space. Some of the other characteristics, so we can use sys user to manage the root container, and the sys user basically can start the CDB instance. Also, sys user can stop the pluggable database. So pluggable database can be stop with the help of sys user. A different pluggable database administrator user can also manage the pluggable databases. So along with sys user, you can also have a PDB administrator. Some of the other characteristics associated with a container database, a common user exists across the CDB within a single identity. So this common user basically start with the name C has. Okay, so you can have C has and then username. So this is the default user that we can have in the container database, and this is known as a common user. So each of the pluggable database can contain local users as well as a common user for all the PDBs. So anyways, we are going to cover all these steps. I mean, when we will be doing the practical on this, maybe in the coming videos, you can expect that more and more practicals on this pluggable database as well as container database. So some of the components you can look at it this diagram. So we have a CDB level components like software. Oracle software is a part of CDB level. SGA can be a part of CDB level. Background process again it will be associated with the CDB level. Data guard can be again associated with the data. So whenever you are managing a container based database, you can think about like how the software will be managed. So software will be always associated with a container database. It cannot be available at a PDB level. SG will be also available at CDB level. Again, in 12.2 onwards, you can have this some of the additional features that you can utilize for SGA management at PDB level also, like some of the memory parameter, background processes, data guard. Again, you can manage at CDB level. Some parameters you can manage at CDB level. Control file, review log file. This is again part of CDB level. SV file, password file. Again, it will be part of CDB level. So PDB level, we have point in time recover. Some parameters like you can check if parameter is supported with is PDB modifiable true. That means parameter can be modified at PDB level. Undo table space from 12.2 onwards. Character set again 12.2 onwards. Flashback database again 12.2 onwards. We can utilize and manage at PDB level. This is a high level diagram for a container based database that we have multiple pluggable databases. Again, all the multiple pluggable database will be sharing the same system global area. Along with this, we have a background processes. So coming back to the physical structure means data file, we have root container. So root container will be having a system, sysops, undo, temp. All this default table space will be part of root container. So along with this, you can have a seed PDB. Again, seed PDB will have system, sysops, temp table space. So from this, you can create multiple pluggable database, which can have the default table space like system, sysops, temp, and along with this, you can also create some additional table spaces. So these entire diagrams present the high level architecture for the container based database. So in this diagram, again, it is presenting like how the undo can be a shared or it can be a local undo table space. So for pluggable database, you can have a undo table space, or it can also be utilized as the common root undo table space. So we can also create pluggable level undo table space, or it can be also used from the shared undo table space at a system level. So both the options are available in case of container based databases. Now some of the other options that we have in container database and pluggable database is that you can utilize the data guard for managing the backups and recovery operation. So suppose you are using the data guard for a container based database, you can reduce the Oracle DBA's efforts and you can take the backup of entire database. When I say entire database means you will be backing up the pluggable database also as a part of backup. So if you just log in and if you take the backup at CDB level, by default PDBs is also automatically get backed up. Similarly, we have a data guard backup at PDB level. So you can also take the backup at PDB level. So you can just simply run pluggable backup pluggable database and pluggable database name. So this will take the backup at PDB level. So you can take the container based database container level backup, or you can also take the pluggable database level backup. So other tools that we can utilize for managing the backup and restoration, you can at data guard. Suppose you are taking the backup from the data guard or you are performing the recovery operation. So you can use record database commands. So first of all, you need to create. Yes. So first of all, you need to create what you call empty container database. So and create a new empty container database which will have only the peer CDB, doesn't get backed up. Okay, and then this will when you need to do the recovery, you have to just simply run record database command. Along with this, you can also perform um, plugging of the particular pluggable database. So you have to just mention under pluggable database PDB name close, and then you have to restore that pluggable data. Suppose you are restoring a pluggable database, so in that case you have to first perform the plugging with the close option. Then you have to plug the restore the database pluggable database, and then again you have to recover the pluggable database, and after that you have to open the database in reset longboard. This is a pluggable database restoration and recovery operation. Some of the other options, like how you can unplug and plug. So while you are running the unplug operation, you have to generate the XML file which contains the metadata information. And again, we will be doing all the practicals, so don't worry about it. This is going to be a practical in coming sessions. So please do follow our videos. If you are new to our channel, please do subscribe. Okay, so once you unplug the database, this is the option that you have. Then you have to connect to the new CDB. So this unplugged database, you have to connect to the new CDB, and then you have to create pluggable database using the XML file that you have used in the previous. So unplug and plug option is very simple in case of plugin. So next option is a fast cloning. So container database also supports fast cloning. So in case of fast cloning, if you are on the same container, you can execute like create pluggable database. So if you suppose you want to create a new PDB with an PDB2, you can do that with the help of existing PDB. So here PDB1 is already present in the container database. From that, you are creating the fast cloning using a PDB naming convention PDB2. So this is happening within the same container database. Suppose we have another CDB. So in that case, you have to use create database link. So using the link option, you can create remote database link, and then using that remote database link, you can basically perform the cloning operation. Okay, so you can execute create pluggable database name, and this is a pluggable database from the remote link, and then give the host name. So this is called as a remote cloning, remote server level cloning using the DB link option. If you are using 12.1 on database, basically the source PDB has to be in the read-only mode while we are doing the cloning. So nowadays we are already talking about 12.2 or 19C, or maybe in coming days we are using 21 or 23C. So always we are going to use the latest feature of 12.2 onwards. So that means we are doing the hot cloning. So no need to perform the database, no need to keep your pluggable database in the read-only mode while you are doing the cloning operation. Next one is some of the other options, like how we can clone the PDBs. So cloning of the PDBs can be also done with the help of create pluggable database PDB2 from PDB1. There you can also mention file name convert. So suppose while you are doing the conversion, you can also make the file name convert option from 1 to 2, like that. And no need to perform the expdp because cloning automatically moves the system metadata. So apart from this, next one is a no need to have read only, because so basically in 12.1 feature we have to have the read only mode, but now in 12.2 option we don't have to perform the read only operation. So this cloning can also be done with the help of DB link option. So if you are using the DB link option, so this is some of the syntax, like create pluggable database PDB2 from PDB1, and then you have to mention the container database name, file name convert that you have to mention, and this cloning can be done without putting the pluggable database in read-only mode. So some of the option like cloning option can be done using the database link option also. Next one, container database also supports refreshable PDBs. So this is very useful tools. Option that you can utilize when you are in the environment with DevOps, where multiple development operations are happening. So during that phase, like we'll require the updated version of the data from maybe from the production system. So instead of doing the manual refresh of the database, you can perform the you can have the refreshable pluggable databases. So how this can be done? So at the first step, you have to basically take the full clone of the source PDB, no downtime required for hot cloning. So you need to create one pluggable database using the clone option. And after that, step 2 will be a refreshable PDBs. So using the redo log file, you will be continuously refreshing at a specific intervals. So this option will help you to perform, refreshable pluggable database configuration. So during the practical, I will be showing all these options, like how you can create a refreshable pluggable database, and you can also use read-only mode for refreshable pluggable databases. So this is not a replacement for data card. This is just for, like, let's say, environment with a multiple refresh requirements. So there you can have a refreshable PDBs. So instead of using the manual refresh of the database, you can create a refreshable pluggable databases. So what are the options that you can utilize while you want to create a refreshable PDBs? So you can specify the time limits, like for every, let's say, 30 minutes basis you want to perform the refresh, you can utilize that option. So only thing is, like, you will require the redo log files. So if suppose redo log is not available in from the source PDB, then you can show the alternate recovery file destination option as well. So we will do the practical on this. So this is an example where we have a production databases, production PDB. From this PDB, we are creating a master read-only pluggable database. From this master pluggable PDB database, we are creating a refreshable copy, or the snapshot version of the master copy. So this particular master is getting refresh every 15 minutes. Okay, so you can define the mode for a refresh, like every 15 minute, every 30-minute basis. So this will keep on getting refresh, and from there you have the snapshot copies. Okay, and then from some of the other options, like resource management options. So CDB level, you can manage the CPU sharing, CPU utilization limit you can set, and then CPU counts also is some of these features that you can utilize. And there are tables, DB underscore CDB underscore resource plan, DBA underscore CDB under resource plan directives. These views or the tables you can check for managing the resource utilization within the pluggable databases and CDB level. So again, what are the memory resource management option that we have at PDB level? So you can manage SJ target, DB cache size, shared pool, PJ aggregate limit, PJ aggregate target. So these are some of the parameters that you can also use for PDB level. So pluggable database memory resource management, there you can also utilize some of the other parameters, like sorry, not the parameter. Yeah, new parameters at PDB level is max underscore IOPS, max underscore Mbps. So these are some of the parameters we can utilize for 12.2 onwards pluggable databases. And along with this, we have maintenance task. You can set the maintenance task at PDB level also by enabling these parameters. So enable underscore automatic maintenance PDB. That is one of the parameter. Default value is true. So along with this, we have auto task max active PDBs. So this can also be set. So with this parameter, you can manage the maintenance task for the pluggable database. Coming back to the AWR report. So sometimes we have the question in mind, like how we manage the AWR report for database, pluggable database, or in fact container based databases. So you can generate AWR snapshot at CDB level. In case of 12.1 version, we can have a snapshot at CDB level only. That is only for CDB root, but you cannot generate the AWR report for pluggable database. In that case, you need to unplug the PDB and to get the information. But in case of 12.2 onwards, we can generate the AWR reports for pluggable database level, container database level, and AWR snaps. By default it goes for SysOx table space. In fact, for each of the PDBs also, AWR reports at PDB and CDB level can be generated. And since a snapshot are getting created at CDB and PDB level, definitely the reports can be also generated at CDB and PDB level. Apart from this, AWR management operation can be either at CDB level or PDB level. So we have one of the new parameter which says AWR underscore PDB auto flush enabled. Okay, so if this parameter is by default it is set to false, we can make it true also. So this parameter basically will help you to perform the automatic auto flush of PDB level AWR flushing operation. So this is a few new feature that we can utilize for managing the AWR report at pluggable database level. Now coming back to the last section in this, so what are the advantage of having the container based database? So we have already seen a couple of multiple advantages. So one of the advantage that we have database consolidation, means you can consolidate multiple database at single server, and here basically you are going to get the benefit in terms of hardware administrative overhead. So these are some of the benefit that we have in case of container database. And then resource efficiency. So again, resources like overall resource can be utilized within the same server. So this is one of the benefit we have. Apart from this, simplified management. So management of like backup, cloning, and upgradation, everything will be managed effortlessly. So suppose we have multiple servers to manage, that will be slightly difficult compared to the single server. So again, this is going to be one of the best features that we can utilize within the container databases. Cost saving, again, if you have a less number of server to utilize, definitely the less number of license, and if less license, less cost. So overall, this is a benefit in terms of container database. So if you're using container databases, you have different benefits like this. Now, for every product, definitely there are some disadvantages as well. So sometimes like implementation is one of the complicated things when we are talking about container-based databases. Apart from this, a performance overhead can be also one of the bottleneck or problematic situation when we are talking about container-based databases. Dependencies. So because when I say performance overhead, means it is possible that one of the pluggable database might utilize the multiple most of the resources, other is basically lagging the resource. So we have to think every aspect when we are managing the pluggable databases within the container database. And dependency risk, again, since we are keeping everything on the single servers and in single resources, so definitely there is always possibility of risk. And apart from this, vendor lock-in means when we are using the container-based database architecture, definitely there will be a vendor-based ecosystem and tools, and limitation will be there for when we are managing the container-based databases. So overall, these are some of the not very difficult disadvantages that we have. We can still manage them if we are using it efficient. So I think overall container database will definitely going to give the best results and performances, as well as the resource management and data consolidation options. So you should consider using the container based database. And for most important thing, like after 19C onwards, we don't have the non-container database features. That means you have to stick with the container-based database. You have to utilize the pluggable database for managing the future databases. So this is the right time for you guys to start learning the pluggable database. I hope you have understood the concept associated with the pluggable databases. Definitely, there are a lot of things to cover in practicals. So you can expect more videos in coming days. And once again, thank you for watching this tutorial. And if you are new to our YouTube channel, please do subscribe and share these contents. We are going to publish more and more videos. You can also watch our previous tutorials. A lot of content has been already published. You can join our upcoming batch. This is going to be a 4-month program. You can start learning Oracle database from the scratch. If you're looking for a ready courses, you can always purchase our recorded courses. And you can also follow us on various communication channels. Thanks for watching this tutorial. Have a good one. If you find any difficulty, don't hesitate to call or email us on this given email ID. Thank you once again. Have a good day.